My cousin Mia had a knack for exposing the truth. We were traveling together and stopped at a noodle spot for a quick meal. We had just ordered when the place started to get busy. Strangely, everyone else seemed to be paying less than us. Mia was instantly annoyed. She whipped out her phone, started recording, and declared she was going to post it online. She genuinely thought we were outsiders, easy to rip off, and she'd show them how to shut this place down. I was curious and wanted to ask for clarification first, but Mia wouldn't listen. She abandoned her half-eaten noodles and stormed out in a rage. Unexpectedly, that video garnered huge attention. Ultimately, the noodle spot was forced to close for investigation. Thanks to this incident, Mia became a blogger specializing in exposing truths. But the very next day, a surprise emerged. It turned out the real reason behind the lower prices was that the noodle spot was offering discounts to seriously ill patients from the nearby City General Hospital. And me, accidentally caught in the video, became the target of a fierce online attack. Mia, meanwhile, was weeping, claiming it was all my fault for egging her on. My parents and I were bombarded by netizens to the point of not being able to eat or sleep. Eventually, I chose to end my life to stop them from being further implicated. Suddenly, I opened my eyes again, finding myself back on the day of the trip with Mia. 2 number 2 combos, please. Mia's bright voice cut through the air. Okay, $30 total. Please wait a moment, the owner, Rose, replied sweetly. As soon as Rose finished speaking, Mia paid, still grumbling. Who knew such a tiny place could be so profitable? Not long after, seeing other customers pay less, Mia's face contorted with fury. Looking at her, I suddenly remembered my past life. We had come to the same noodle spot on that trip. We had just sat down when more and more people came in. Rose charged them $3 less per bowl than us. But I clearly recalled their noodles had no meat, while ours were full of minced pork. Yet Mia was already fuming, pulling out her phone to record. "Ha! I've caught this place red-handed for fraudulent business," she exclaimed. "This kind of unethical small business must be exposed." Without another word, Mia started filming. I was too busy looking at other people's noodles, not even noticing I was in the frame too. I was about to suggest she ask for clarification first, but after filming, Mia was beaming, dragging me out of the noodle spot before I'd even touched my noodles. Outside, she smirked at me. "Just you wait, sis. I'll make this thing blow up." I felt something was off and voiced my doubts, but Mia just glared at me annoyed. "What do you know? This kind of sly business owner has probably cheated countless people already. Why should we pay more?" With that, she glued her eyes back to her phone. Seeing how stubborn Mia was, I didn't press further. Who would have guessed that the video would go trending within hours? Only the outcome wasn't what Mia expected. Instead, we were both criticized. "Did you know this noodle spot is giving special discounts to cancer patients from the nearby hospital? The noodles without meat are for them too. Now anyone online can call themselves a truth-exposing blogger. Get lost. No one welcomes you here." Back home, Mia started a live stream, crying and blaming everything on me. She said I couldn't stand paying $3 extra and insisted she post the video. Needless to say, my personal information was leaked instantly. Even my parents were dragged into the online attacks. Our door was smeared with paint. We received terrifying packages and harassing calls and messages poured in daily. Seeing my aging parents become increasingly haggard because of me, I finally chose to end my life. At this moment, seeing Mia's agitated face, I suddenly stood up, startling her. "Mia, if you think the price isn't right, just ask the owner." Directly? Why film? Mia froze, frowning at me, her tone softening. "What are you doing? Why are you suddenly yelling?" I snatched my hand back from her grasp. "What? What else? Aren't you saying this price isn't right? We paid $3 more, right? If you feel there's a problem, just ask the owner directly." Hearing my loud voice, some customers paying nearby spoke up, explaining to Rose. "Little girl, don't be upset. We are patients from the hospital nearby. We come here often." Looking at them, they seemed honest and not very articulate. Mia, hearing this, immediately widened her eyes. "What? Regulars get different treatment? So this menu is just for people from out of town? I think this is just an excuse to make more money." Mia glared at me. Thinking things had escalated this far, she stopped being sneaky and openly took out her phone, panning the camera around the dining area, the kitchen, even the people eating. Just then, Rose rushed out, flustered, her hair a mess from being busy. Her apron, though faded from washing, was still clean and neat. Rose sighed, wiping her hands on her apron, then helplessly said, "Little girl, please don't be angry. Let me return the money to you, okay? As she spoke, Rose reached for her wallet, but Mia raised her voice. It's not about your few dollars. I just can't stand your deceitful business practices. I will definitely expose this. I won't let this go. She continued filming, covering the dining area, the kitchen, even the customers eating. I went outside to hail a taxi back to the Grandview Hotel. I packed my things, checked out, and bought a ticket home. Everything happened quickly. If Mia wanted to create trouble for herself, then in this life, let her deal with it on her own. Just as I boarded the train home, Mia called. Sis, where did you go? I came out and couldn't find you. We still have other places to go. Her voice sounded smug, probably having filmed what she wanted. But now, not seeing me, she sounded accusatory. I just gave a faint smile. No need. I wasn't feeling well, so I came back early. Your things are at the hotel reception, okay? I hung up immediately after speaking. My phone received a few voice messages from Mia in quick succession. Lily, are you crazy? I brought you out to play, and now you're leaving me alone? Aren't you afraid something will happen to me? How will you explain this to my parents? Or are you ashamed of what I'm doing? I didn't bother to reply. I knew there was no reasoning with someone as irrational as her. Sitting on the high-speed train home, my body still trembled with emotion. The trauma from the online attacks in my past life made me unable to look people directly in the eye. And this wasn't the first time Mia had shifted blame onto me. Mia was the daughter of my aunt and uncle, one a gambling addict, the other a pleasure seeker. Neither wanted to care for their daughter, so since Mia was in high school, she had lived with our family. My mom often said in front of me, Mia is a pitiful child, Lily. You're the older sister, you need to take care of her more. Although my dad wasn't happy, he always lost arguments with my mom and could only advise me to be patient and tolerant. I was weak and incapable of resisting. Any resentment I had, I just swallowed it down and did as Mia asked. Mia had been accustomed to blaming everything on me since childhood. And even after doing so, she would still try to build a beautiful and kind image for herself. Half a month before this business trip, I happened to see Mia jogging in the morning. She was taking leftover vegetables from our house to give to an elderly, miserly woman in the neighborhood. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't have said anything. But that old woman wasn't poor at all. She just liked to act pitiful to evoke sympathy. If someone gave her something, she would latch onto them and not let go until they regretted it. I stepped forward, blocking Mia, and pulled her aside, whispering, Mia, what are you doing? These vegetables aren't fresh anymore. What if something happens to her after eating them? Mia retorted impatiently, Cousin, you're so heartless. It's just a few vegetables, and you can't even bear to give them to someone else. I disagreed, snatching the vegetables and throwing them away near the office building. Unexpectedly, Mia went to complain to my mom. My mom, who always favored her, only blamed me. Lily, why have you become so callous? It's just a few vegetables. If Mia wants to give them, just let her. Despite feeling resentful, I didn't defend myself. In the end, my dad had to take out money to sponsor this trip to smooth things over. Come on, don't argue anymore. Dad will pay for you two to go on a trip. Everything will be fine. That's why we went on this trip. On the trip, Mia acted like a princess, pushing everything onto me. I handled all the arrangements. Now I finally understood that tolerance doesn't earn sympathy, it only encourages people to take you for granted. Thinking of this, my mom's phone rang. I hesitated for a moment, then decided to answer. As expected, as soon as I pressed the answer button, my mom's angry voice boomed. Lily, you're the older sister. How could you leave Mia in such a strange place? If anything happens to Mia, how am I supposed to face your aunt and uncle? Why are you so selfish, only thinking of yourself? Hearing these words, my heart turned cold. I felt I was reaching my breaking point. I gritted my teeth and yelled into the phone. Selfish? Why don't you say Mia is selfish? Why don't you say you are selfish? So what if I left her behind? Is she a 3-year-old? Doesn't she know how to get back? And you said explain to her. Parents? Have her parents ever cared about her? What's there to explain? Mia is just my cousin, not my real sister, and she's already grown up. I have no obligation to watch over her. After saying this, I immediately hung up, feeling a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. It turned out that speaking my mind wasn't as difficult as I thought. After I yelled, my mom didn't say anything further, and I smoothly returned home. Although when I was under online attack, my mom still didn't realize me as at fault, but after I died, my mom hugged me and wailed uncontrollably. Lily, Mom was wrong. Mom shouldn't have sided with them. Can you come back to Mom? Every time I recalled that, my heart surged with uncontrollable resentment. When I entered the house, my mom was sitting on the sofa. She glanced at me, then began to complain. "Oh, you're back? How impressive. Now Mom can't control you anymore. Just said a few words and you yelled at your own mother. It's understandable. You're grown now. You're independent now. Always thinking Mom is wrong about everything." I didn't reply, just walked straight to Mia's room. Looking around the room, I realized this used to be my room. My mom, afraid of being criticized for being harsh on her niece, had made me move to the tiny study room. After standing still for a few seconds, I began to pack up all of Mia's belongings. Hearing the noise, my mom came over, surprised. "What are you doing? Why are you packing Mia's things?" Seeing I didn't answer, she started to get angry and grabbed my arm. "Mom is asking you. Are you deaf?" I turned around, coldly looking at my mom. "This is my room. I've let her stay here all this time. She should be grateful to me. Now I don't want her here anymore. She should return the room to me." "Where do you want her to go?" my mom retorted. "Of course to the room you're in now. But that room is too small. It has no light. How can anyone live there?" My mom, realizing she'd misspoken, quickly covered her mouth. Even my dad angrily clenched his fist, looking at my mom. "My daughter can live there, but she can't?" My mom was about to explain, but the doorbell rang. When the door opened, a familiar voice rang out from outside. "Hello, is this Lily's house? We're from Entertainment Media Channel. We want to interview Lily about the noodle spot incident this afternoon. Is she home?" I thought that after being reborn, I could escape this incident. But my mom pointed directly at me, letting them in. I couldn't help but tremble again. However, I quickly adjusted my mood. What's coming will come. But I didn't expect that within just 2 or 3 hours of returning from the trip, Mia had already informed a marketing account. It was clear she had planned this from the start. My mom, seeing them enter, panicked and hurriedly grabbed the person's arm, asking, "What's going on? What are you here for?" The man opposite her was naturally skilled at leading the conversation, smiling at my mom. "We're here to interview Lily about what happened at the noodle spot this afternoon. Unexpectedly, she's already home." My mom immediately reacted, her face darkening. "Okay, is it you again doing something wrong? I told you. Why did you suddenly change your personality? So it's because you did something wrong outside that you came back like this." Hearing this, the reporter immediately seized the opportunity, asking my mom, Lily's mother in that case, "Could you also join us for the interview?" My mom immediately waved her hand to refuse. No, I wouldn't dare to be called that. I still want to live a few more years." Hearing my mom say this, I no longer felt much emotion. Anyway, in my past life, although I was attacked by people, what hurt me the most was still my mom's attitude. She always liked to stand outside my room and yell loudly, "Look at you. Why did I give birth to such a useless daughter like you? I don't expect you to earn much money, but don't cause trouble for me outside." Now it's good. Not only people at my workplace know, but even everyone at your dad's workplace knows too. Your dad and I have no face to go out anymore. Even the neighbors know. When your dad and I go out, people just whisper and point. What I cared most about was Dad. He hadn't enjoyed any blessings his whole life, but in the end, he was dragged down by me. But he never said anything to me. He even rarely argued with Mom. Our child is already like this. What's the use of you saying these things? Do you really want to push our child to the brink? But my mom still wouldn't let it go, arguing loudly with Dad outside. I really couldn't bear this life anymore. I opened the window without hesitation and jumped down. Thinking of the tragic death in my past life, looking at the man in front of me, the anger in my heart surged uncontrollably. I scoffed. The noodle spot incident? Why don't you interview Mia? Why interview me? Everyone present was stunned. The reporter quickly reacted, laughing. Lily, we know this matter will have a big impact, but we should clarify the truth. Moreover, the accuser is also you. Everyone is waiting for you to come forward to explain. It turned out Mia not only filmed the video but also caused a scene in the store, then immediately called to report to the relevant authorities. But this further proved my point. I turned to look at him. How do you know I was the accuser? The host held up his phone. I saw in the video Mia was uploading there was a vague silhouette of me. Different from the past life, this time only my profile was visible. But after their editing, the feeling for viewers was that I was very impatient, directly walking out and starting to make accusation calls. But in reality, when I went outside, I was receiving a call from the taxi. Just like in my past life, as soon as the video was released, people began to speak up in defense of the kind noodle spot owner, Rose. Mia, because of this ambiguous video, made many netizens find out my information. But I could be sure that this host could directly find my house, definitely inseparable from Mia. My mom saw the video and without hesitation, pointed at me and scolded, "Tell me, what would you do for fame? This noodle spot didn't do anything to you. If you think it's expensive, you don't have to eat there. Why do you have to accuse people?" I looked at the live streaming camera behind the host and sneered. "I want to ask you, do you have any evidence? Can you prove that this matter was done by me? Or in other words, the person who filmed the video told you to come here?" The host was stunned for a moment but quickly reacted. "Because we contacted the relevant person. That person said you were back, so we came. But Lily, we came here with no other intention but to ask you to withdraw the complaint." "I can't withdraw the complaint." I looked at him seriously. Perhaps he didn't think that, in front of the live broadcast, I could be so bold. "Lily, I know this matter makes you very angry, but this noodle spot has a special meaning. Very important for seriously ill patients in the hospital. How about this? I'm willing to pay 1,000 yuan as compensation to you, plus the price difference that the store refunded you. You should be generous. No need to dwell on this small matter, right?" I picked up my phone and scrolled into this host's live streaming room. He even knew to protect my image rights, only filming half of my body, not revealing my face. The live streaming room already had millions of viewers. Messages in the room were constantly scrolling. "The host is so kind, but this woman is really shameless just for money. That's right. Does she understand how important a few cheap dollars are to many families? Speaking is useless to such a heartless person." I even saw Mia's account had topped the live streaming room. I couldn't help but click into her room. She was actually in front of the noodle spot, but the noodle spot had been closed because of the popularity of her video. She even said in the live stream, "My cousin Lily, from childhood to adulthood, has liked to expose the truth. But this matter, I've already clarified clearly, but she still chose to accuse. Now I'm in this live streaming room guaranteeing everyone. All our revenue today will be used to donate to the noodle spot." I couldn't help but laugh. But when I left, it made netizens even angrier. Even the host interviewing me spoke unhappily. "Lily, I didn't expect today to have such a result. If you think this amount of money is not reasonable, you can completely say a number. As long as I can do it, there will be nothing unclear." I slowly retracted my smile, staring at him. "I'm laughing because you guys are ridiculous, not for any other reason. You came to find me without investigating, already violating my privacy. Moreover, these things were not done by me in the first place. You came here to force me to withdraw the complaint. What's the reason?" I looked at his blank face, not stopping, and continued. "I have complete videos. Do you need me to show you? Moreover, the accusation information received by the authorities is all real identities. You just need to investigate, and you'll know immediately. Or wait for the official announcement. Wouldn't that be clear? What are you doing here now?" Without waiting for them to react, I immediately took out all the videos I had filmed today. Sure enough, when everyone in the live streaming room saw them, they couldn't keep calm. Why do I feel this girl's filming is very truthful? That's right. It looks very clear. And the whole process is that the video uploader is trying to make trouble. Oh my god, backstabbed. Immediately, Mia's live streaming room was flooded with critical comments. Mia herself didn't know what happened and kept talking. Very quickly, Mia was reported by netizens and forced to stop broadcasting. Moreover, all the revenue from this livestream was completely frozen. Seeing this result, Mia immediately lost her composure, immediately calling me. I looked at the live streaming screen, smiled, and answered the phone. "Lily, you filmed this video? When? Let me tell you, don't be smug. I have other tricks. The accusation information is your real name. Haha, unexpected, right? You wait and see. You absolutely can't escape." Hearing Mia's crazy words, even my mom, who always doted on her, fell silent. The host even gritted his teeth and said, You spread false information and led me to live stream. I will definitely pursue your responsibility. After speaking, I hung up. The host solemnly apologized to me in the live streaming room and affirmed that he would dig deep into all the truth, return my innocence, and the noodle spot's innocence. This time, Mia's reputation was completely ruined. She started calling my mom. Auntie, listen to me. It's not what you think. It's all my cousin. All my cousin. Self-filming and self-editing. Mia cried and spoke. In the end, it still made my mom feel sorry for her, sighing. Okay, you come back and we'll talk. But my dad was completely furious, coldly looking at my mom. Still coming back? Where will she come back to? If it weren't for Lily being foresight and filming videos, maybe we would have been attacked already. You also go online. You also know how miserable the fate of children who are attacked in the end is. I tell you, if you continue to favor Mia, we will divorce. This was the first time my dad said such harsh words to my mom, but I was also completely cold-hearted because of this matter. I picked up Mia's luggage that had been packed and threw it straight out. My mom, seeing this, was a little flustered. Look, those are all expensive things. How can you just say throw and throw? But I just returned to the bedroom, acting as if I didn't hear. Luckily, my mom didn't let Mia return but sent the luggage to the Oakwood entrance, letting her go home by herself. After a few days, wait for me to calm down, then come back. After Mia went home, this matter continued to spread online. But the noodle spot, thanks to the support of many medicons, finally started to operate normally again. Only Mia, on the side, had been dug up by resourceful medicons for no small amount of dirty secrets. There was a person named Lisa who commented twice under the video, the main content being that when she was in middle school, Mia was a school bully and had bullied her for 2 years. However, in the final year of school, because of academic pressure and psychological pressure, she finally dropped out. But Mia blamed all of this on Lily. Lisa and I also had to go through 2 years of psychological therapy to slowly change. I still remembered that because of this matter, I was isolated by all classmates and teachers. Moreover, I was beaten by my mom and locked in the room for a whole day and night. If my dad hadn't come in and found me with a high fever and taken me to the hospital, maybe I wouldn't have lived until now. But after this matter was exposed, Mia not only didn't self-reflect but also habitually shifted blame onto me. Mia thought that it was because of me that everything had turned out this way. She couldn't go to work, couldn't go out, and called every day asking me to compensate for the losses. On the 3rd day, Mia finally came with her uncle and aunt to demand compensation. Early in the morning, the door was knocked loudly. Lily, come out for me. My dad was the one who opened the door. The 3 family members didn't notice the anger on his face. As soon as they entered, my aunt pointed at me and said, Lily, you're the older sister, but how can you treat your younger sister like this? Because of you, Mia now doesn't dare to go out, doesn't dare to socialize, doesn't even dare to look at her phone. Tell me, how are you going to compensate? I widened my eyes looking at my aunt. Auntie, if she doesn't dare to go out, then who are you? Standing here, are you a ghost? Besides, she doesn't dare to look at her phone? Isn't it because she's ashamed? Then what does it have to do with me? My aunt angrily pointed at me, then turned to look at my mom, who was sitting silently on the sofa. Sister, your daughter talks like this and you don't manage her? Mia and her sister went out together. Why did only she encounter trouble? I'm sure Lily is blaming her. I folded my arms looking at my aunt. Auntie, spreading false information is against the law. My aunt looked at me with disdain, scoffing. I don't believe it. If you're so good, call the police to come and arrest me. My uncle rarely spoke, but he didn't speak to me, he spoke to my mom. Sister, you only have one child. Can you bear to let her be like this? If something really happens, how will you explain to our deceased mother later? My mom, hearing this sentence, finally showed some emotion, looking up at me. Lily, how about this? You admit to this matter. Anyway, it's almost over. Wait a few more days, and no one will remember this anymore. My mom said sincerely, while the other 3 looked at me smugly. I didn't say anything, standing beside my dad, who was so angry that his face was flushed. I picked up my phone and shook it at them. These words, I've recorded them, okay? If you continue like this, I won't need to say everything. You also know what will happen next. But my aunt wanted to rush forward to snatch it. I quickly dodged aside. My aunt wasn't stupid enough to do that. The recording had already been backed up to the cloud. Even if my aunt snatched it, it would be useless. While I'm still not angry, get lost. Don't make me call the police. Looking at me, no longer as weak as before, the three of them were so angry that their faces turned red, their mouths continuously cursing. You cheap, your whole family is cheap. Okay. We won't have anything to do with each other anymore in the future. Then that's even better. Dad, see them out. By the way, bring in the things I bought at the door for me. My dad stepped out, opened the door and said to them, "Hurry up, go." My uncle pushed my dad and he staggered back a few steps. "We won't bother staying here." After speaking, the three of them angrily left, slamming the door shut. When my dad came in again, he looked around and asked me, "Lily, where are the things you bought?" I laughed. "It's okay, maybe they were stolen." My dad blankly closed the door, looking at my mom without saying a word. I turned around and went into the room. As for the marriage of her and Dad, that was their business. I wouldn't interfere. A new problem. As time passed, 2 days after this incident, things gradually subsided. But before it was truly quiet, another problem arose. When Dad and I went out shopping, just as we left the elevator, we saw a middle-aged couple angrily standing in front of our door. Seeing us come out, they pointed at me and said, "Humph. Finally caught you, you cheap. What did you give my mom to eat? Now she's still in the hospital with diarrhea. Just now your mom opened the door and stuffed 200 yuan at us." I spit on it. "Let me tell you, you have to take responsibility for this. Otherwise, we will report you to the police for poisoning." Hearing my mom compensated 200 yuan, my head exploded. Looking at the money in their hands, I took it, saying, "Actually, this money we really shouldn't compensate, because the person who gave your mom food wasn't our family in the first place." The tall man saw the 200 yuan fly away and angrily wanted to rush forward to snatch it back, but was blocked by my dad. "What now? You want to become robbers?" The two of them angrily yelled loudly at the door about what happened. It turned out someone had given his mom a bag of vegetables, and after eating them, she got diarrhea and was still in the hospital. Hearing that the person who gave the vegetables was from our house, I explained, "A few days ago, our house lost a bag of vegetables. I called customer service and they finally confirmed it was left at the door. But I myself couldn't find it, so I didn't pay much attention." The two of them not only didn't stop but also yelled louder. "Humph. Are you saying the bag of vegetables was stolen by us? Just a bag of vegetables, who can't afford to buy it? Don't shift responsibility. This is your fault." To protect my innocence, I had no choice but to call the police. Uncovering the truth. When the police arrived, I suddenly remembered. "Officer, my memory is too bad. A few days ago, something happened at my house and I installed a camera. I forgot about it. So, I found the video recorded a few days ago and discovered that it was Mia secretly taking that bag of vegetables away. As for where she took it, I asked the security guard and found out. Mia had actively given that bag of vegetables to the old woman and left after giving it. Only, the bag of vegetables had been poisoned. That day, I deliberately mentioned this matter. Unexpectedly, Mia actually listened. She was even more ruthless, poisoning it before giving it to the old woman. The main purpose was to make them feel that our family gave the old woman that bag of vegetables. But at that moment, the hospital called saying the old woman's condition was very dangerous. The couple immediately rushed to the hospital. I finished writing my statement and returned home. Returning home, I found Mom was colluding with Mia, telling her to quickly run away. However, I immediately sent the investigation information I had just received to the police. In the end, Mia was arrested at Central Station. The old woman, because of diarrhea, had intestinal damage and would have to live with a stoma in the future. The couple couldn't accept it and demanded that Mia be severely punished. Because of this matter, Mia was taken away and couldn't avoid the crime of intentional injury. A family torn apart. As for my family, my dad had decided to divorce Mom. The house we were living in was in both their names. My dad said, "This house, each person has half. So Lily's house will be left for her. As for the property that belongs to both of us, it will all be given to our daughter." Mom saw that Dad was really determined and wailed and cried. Before, every time she pulled this stunt, my dad would definitely give in. But this time, she had hurt both of us. After a month, they got the divorce certificate. Dad and I held a celebration at my house, and we promised that we would rely on each other to live in the future. Not only that, but also to live well. Mom's final betrayal. But what I didn't expect was that my mom could go to such lengths to get compensation money for the old woman's family. Also, to reduce Mia's sentence, my mom spared no expense. She gave all her money to Uncle, even mortgaging the house. In the end, Uncle and Aunt saw that the old woman's family resolutely refused to accept compensation, so they decided to let my mom solve it herself and took the money and went to another city. It turned out, Uncle and Aunt didn't really want money from Mia, but just wanted to pay off their gambling debts. As for my mom, she was left with nothing and could only find a temporary job to barely make ends meet each month. I also decided that when she was no longer able to work, I would send her to a nursing home. Just that, because she had not cherished my love completely.